What's up, my comic comrades? Issue 5 of the Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong series dropped this week, so today we're cracking it open to see what Lex Luthor is going to do with the Mechagodzilla tech we saw in his possession at the end of issue 4. We also saw Green Arrow sneak on board the League of Assassins ship only to find out they were stealing a mysterious skull from Skull Island. So enough with the chit chat, let's get into it. Issue 5 opens up with Lois Lane in the Justice League's watchtower communicating with the same mystery person from last issue. This person tells Lois, "You're looking for the Dreamstone. It's missing along with Toyman. That's all I can tell you." Lois tells this person, "I need more," but the voice replies, "I can't." Lois says, "This isn't the first time you've intervened when Lex has gone off the rails." The person says, "The monsters are Toyman's doing," with Lois replying, "Then help us stop them." We then see the person she's talking to is Mercy, Lex Luthor's right-hand woman. Lois goes on to say, "Mercy, please, I've always protected you, and this is a bigger threat than anything we've ever seen. I'm not asking you to divulge Luthor's plans, just help us level the playing field." Mercy pauses for a moment and then asks, "Is it true what they're saying about Superman? Is he dead?" Lois says, "No, but he's in bad shape. And if that dinosaur monster can do that to him, what makes you think Lex will be able to control it?" Mercy tells Lois, "Godzilla. Its name is Godzilla, and it's not some mindless creature. It's the king of monsters, an ancient being whose purpose seems to be maintaining the balance of nature." Lois asks, "How do you know this?" Mercy explains, "There's an organization called Monarch on the Earth they came from. They've been studying these titans for decades, and we have the files. I'll send you what we have. That's the best I can do." At this point, Lois realizes that Supergirl is there, with her replying, "The king of monsters did this? There must not be any metahumans on its world, and coming here upset the balance of nature in its eyes," which is a very interesting perspective and the truth. As we all know, in the Monsterverse, Godzilla's purpose is to maintain balance. It's the Alpha Titan, the apex predator, meaning he is the dominant creature among all titans on Earth. His goal is to maintain balance within the natural order of things, keeping the titans in check so they don't destroy things for no reason. Now, Godzilla does often destroy things, but it's usually for a reason like defending Earth from enemy titans. But hey, everybody's got their bad days, so even Godzilla just has to stomp it out once in a while, you know? Point is, he's a defender of Earth and also a guardian against extraterrestrial threats. We saw an example of this in the 2019 Godzilla King of Monsters when he fought the alien dragon Ghidorah. So this could mean that the reason why he faced off against Superman was because he saw Superman as an extraterrestrial threat, as Superman is indeed an alien. In any case, Lois then tells Supergirl Godzilla went after Clark to preserve the natural order of a world it isn't meant to be in, which is very interesting because in the DC universe, Superman is the end-all be-all defender of Earth. But Godzilla was essentially like, "No though, you're an alien, and now I'm the #1 defender of Earth." Lois then asks Supergirl, "I told Mercy that Clark isn't dead, but honestly, we can't tell. Is he?" Supergirl says no, but he's dying. We are then taken back to Atlantis, where, if you remember from the last issue, Aquaman unleashed the Kraken on Godzilla and another massive titan. Green Lantern then tells Aquaman, "Seriously? A Kraken? Like we didn't have it tough enough?" Aquaman tells him, "Our protector should draw the monster away from the kingdom while my people reinforce the dome's crack." What he's referring to is that in the last issue, the titans cracked the dome that protects Atlantis. Mera then says, "That's our top priority. We're at collapse depth down here." Wonder Woman tells all of them the monsters are only here because of the beacon. Flash says, "Then I need to find it," as Aquaman, Mera, and Aqualad help him search for it. With Hal Jordan and Aquaman defending the dome alongside Wonder Woman, we then get a few pages of just epic titan fighting as Godzilla is fighting the damn Kraken. But ultimately, the Kraken tackles Godzilla and the other titan into the dome, further cracking it, forcing Hal Jordan to use his Green Lantern ring to hold it together. Now, at this point, Flash has found the beacon and says, "I'll draw them away. Go save your city." Meanwhile, believe it or not, the Kraken is actually doing some work, being able to hold down the King of Monsters. We then see Aquaman and Wonder Woman head down to them fighting on the ocean floor. Aquaman says, "With the help from the Kraken, we could trap the monster." But Godzilla just unleashes an atomic blast and yet again damages the dome. Next, we're taken to the South Pacific, where we see Green Arrow on board the League of Assassins ship. He tells himself, "I don't have much experience with the League of Assassins. They're usually Batman's problem, but everything I know tells me that if they're stealing this giant monster skull, something bad is going to happen." And right after this, the League of Assassins find Green Arrow aboard their ship. He does the best he can to hold them off, but ultimately sets off an explosion with one of his arrows that blasts him off the ship, leaving him stranded in the water, saying, "New plan." But before we continue to see what Batman is cooking up to fight Godzilla, we want to thank today's sponsor, Stern Pinball. They have made a Godzilla-sized game you gotta check out. In this monster-packed pinball adventure, players become Godzilla. The evil aliens use mind control rays to take control of the monsters King Ghidorah, Gigan, Megalon, Ibira, and Titanosaurus. While Godzilla and his allies, Mothra, Rodan, and others, battled an invasion with the goal of conquering Mechagodzilla to become king of the monsters. I gotta tell you, we had this pinball machine in studio and I played it for hours. Definitely one of the most fun pinball machines I've played. The game has a jump ramp propelling pinballs into the magnetic ball-catching Mechagodzilla sculpture. There is even an animated breakaway bridge ramp that can collapse and drop pinballs. So dope. And to help you max out the gameplay, once inside Stern's Insider Connected app, you could use the location map to find any connected Stern machine near you. You'll also be able to earn achievements and connect with other pinheads around the world. It's free through the app, which you can download for iOS or Android. Just visit sternpinball.com or use our link in the description below to get your game on. But now that you know about that awesome Godzilla pinball machine, let's jump back into the issue. The comic then takes us to a conversation between Cyborg and Batman. Cyborg tells Batman, I sent out a summary of the Monarch files, highlighting all of the Titans' known strengths and weaknesses. Batman replies, reviewing it now. What's happening in Atlantis? Cyborg answers, waiting for an update. And nothing yet from Shazam, who is MIA, or Green Arrow on Skull Island. Supergirl's headed back there to check on the ape called Kong. Based on what's in those files, Kong is as close to a good guy as you'll find among the Titans. Batman replies, if we can make a 300-foot ally, I'm all for it. In the meantime, have you checked out the specs on the thing I sent you? Cyborg says, I did. It's ambitious to say the least. Are you sure you want to try to do this? Batman replies, we're doing it with the help of the Flash and some friends. As we see that the Bat family and Titans are helping Batman build some kind of huge mech. Now they don't explain exactly what he's building, you can just see the beginnings of it in the background. But if we know Batman, this is going to be his version of Mechagodzilla. We are then taken to Skull Island where Supergirl is checking on Kong to see if they could recruit him as some sort of ally. But when she gets there, she sees Grodd and his gorilla army bowing down, worshipping Kong as their god. Supergirl tells Grodd he is not your god and won't be swayed by your primitive submission. Grodd tells her, I knew you would be back. You underestimated my might. As she says, your little mind control tricks don't work on me. Grodd says, I disagree. As we see, he has a kryptonite horn on his forehead that's allowing him to manipulate Supergirl, as every Kryptonian's weakness is obviously kryptonite. He makes Supergirl punch Kong so hard across the face, she knocks him to the floor, with Grodd now in control of Supergirl. Then back at the Legion of Doom, we see Black Manta and Giganta checking on Deathstroke and Cheetah to see if they found Toyman, but they still have not found him or the Dreamstone. Captain Cold then walks in saying a new source is calling the monsters, calling them back to Metropolis. We then see what Shazam has been up to, and what he's been up to is mourning since he thinks he's responsible for the death of Superman. Because if you remember, at the end of issue 2, Superman told Shazam not to attack Godzilla, but he did it anyway, and was going to get caught in Godzilla's atomic breath, but Superman being Superman, shielded Shazam from the blast, getting himself hit instead. We then see that Cyborg is trying to get in touch with Shazam, but Shazam just ignores him. Ultimately, Batman calls in, and we all know you don't ignore Batman. Batman tells Shazam, Billy, it's Batman. Take it from me. Punishing yourself for the bad things that happen doesn't help anyone. Billy says, it didn't happen. I screwed up. It's my fault. Superman is dead. Batman replies, he's not. I promise you. We are going to find a way to get him right. Billy says, if the Legion of Doom hadn't started it, it wouldn't have happened. I'm going to make them pay. Batman says, you're outnumbered. Channel that energy into a tactic that will contribute to the cause. Keep track of them and report any movement. Shazam says, kind of too late for that, as he arrives at the Legion of Doom's headquarters. Billy, being Shazam, essentially having Superman level strength, starts going wild on all the villains, but ultimately is stopped when Giganta punches him and Blockbuster with her massive fist. Penguin asks, did Giganta just kill Blockbuster? Scarecrow replies, who cares? As we look at Shazam and Blockbuster laying lifeless on the ground. Now I'm just gonna say it, Giganta would not be able to put Shazam down like that, but hey, it furthers the story. At this point, we're taken back to Atlantis, where Hal Jordan Green Lantern is trying to hold the dome together all by himself with his Green Lantern ring. But we see he can't do it anymore, as he's straining so hard he's starting to pass out, ultimately saying sorry. But on the next page, we see backup has arrived as John Stewart says, sorry it took so long to squat up, but we got you, as we see John Stewart is there alongside the rest of the Green Lanterns of Earth, such as Jessica Cruz, Guy Gardner, and Simon Baz. John Stewart tells Mara, we'll hold the dome together while your people do what they need to. Elsewhere, we see that while the Kraken was holding Godzilla down, Aquaman was able to chain Godzilla down by one of his feet with a nth metal chain and lock. Wonder Woman's like, you sure that'll hold? Aquaman says, it's made of nth metal. It'll hold. We got him. Our biggest threat is off the table. But of course, that just means no. Your biggest threat is not off the table, because we are then taken to Lex Luthor, who's suited up in his iconic green and purple armor, asking Mercy, is the connection stable? She replies, online for 90 minutes and counting. The system is stable. He says, then let's do it. Execute link up. I'm live. Mercy then tells Lex, don't mean to interrupt your moment, Lex, but I count 4 Titans heading back your way. Mechagodzilla must have a beacon built into its system. We should locate and deactivate. Lex tells her, no, let them come. They need to learn who the true alpha is. As we see, Lex did indeed build Mechagodzilla and is controlling it. We we all saw this coming, but it's so nice to finally see within the actual story. But the plot thickens because remember how the League of Assassins stole that skull from Skull Island and Green Arrow was like, yeah, that definitely isn't good. Well, it turned out to be right because we see the skull airlifted via helicopter over a Lazarus pit as Ra's al Ghul awaits its arrival, with pilots in the helicopter saying the master says to proceed right to the drop. Now, most of us know that the Lazarus pit brings people back from the dead. So is Ra's looking to bring back the monster the skull belongs to? And if so, why? I guess we'll just have to wait and find out in issue 6 next month. But there you have it, guys. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong issue 5. The story keeps getting better and better, and I can't wait for the climactic battle in the series finale. This new twist of introducing Ra's has me very intrigued because we knew Lex was out with some evil plan, but this revelation is brand new. Anyway, what do you guys think of the issue and series thus far? Let us know down in the comments. Other than that, we will see you next time when we talk about the most dangerous villains in the world of Avatar.